homes here?
Well, I think you got quite a in-depth, comprehensive detail from PM. Except to say, I first of all really have to recognize why we're here today. And we're here in response to Tropical Storm Erika, which occurred somewhere in August of 2017. So it means that we are here almost 2 years later on. I recall very distinctively the very first response was that Cabinet appointed a resettlement committee, a technical resettlement committee, to give advice to a policy resettlement committee comprising a number of cabinet ministers in response to Tropical Storm Erika. Immediately thereafter, somewhere in October, we went into direct engagement, looking into accessing suitable land that was, of course, free from hazards, whether we're looking at exposure to serious hurricane force winds, or landslides, or mudslides, or even the whole question of seismic activity in terms of geological nature of the area. We came up with around 10 sites throughout the country. And of course, that Bellevue Chopin site was one of the areas that were highly rated. It brings to mind very readily to me the people of Petit Savan. And we're here today on the ground that we are seeing the resettlement of Petit Savan in Bellevue Chopin. The Bellevue Chopin site, based on a resettlement committee that comprises of the residents of Petit Savan, it was one of the sites highly rated. It was one of the first sites in terms of the preferred site for resettlement for the Bellevue the Petit Savan community. The first site, of course, of choice for them was the Warner Flats. It's obvious for that, and I won't go into any greater details. The second one was the site of Mopo Marcaton area, which is, of course, closer to Grand Bay, and the Bellevue Chopin was the third site in terms of the preference for the Petit Savan persons. We, from the Ministry of Housing and even the Technical Resettlement Committee, met with a number of occasions with the Resettlement Committee from Petit Savan, gave them some sort of insight as to what we were going to do. Shortly, sometime in November, we were able to complete the acquisition of the land. And I must say, again, our heartfelt appreciation to the Nicholses, who really positively considered the private treaty arrangement that we went through and ensuring that we had a very amicable and a very speedy resolving of the land acquisition. So we are here today, and we are seeing, of course, in response to the Petit Savan impact that we had coming from Tropical Storm Erika, that we have a new settlement which is almost of an urbanized nature. Of course, you heard the Honorable Prime Minister talk about the resultant population size that we're going to have here. For Petit Savan, we had roughly around 800 plus persons displaced. Bellevue Chopin, of course, is over 400 persons. When you put all that together, it means therefore you have a total new configuration in terms of the urbanized size of the center we're going to have there. So it was absolutely necessary that we have a total response meaning that a total housing resettlement program. And of course, we took into consideration all the necessary amenities, meaning the residential aspect of things, the infrastructure development, and of course, as you will see, we have the roads, we have the drainage, we have all the utilities, inclusive of water, telephone, electrical power, and of course, internet would be one to come. Coming out of Erika, and again, the Honorable PM alluded to that, we wanted to ensure that we turn this adversity around. And so it came about at the Building Back Better for Dominica. And we are happy today because we can give you a practical manifestation as to what is meant. I won't go too much into the technical detail, but of course you heard PM and of course the project manager, Mr. Chris Timmons, told you about the structural aspect. You were seeing in front of you a totally reinforced concrete structure. In fact, the walls are doubly reinforced. It means that both the internal face and the external faces of the walls are reinforced in concrete. They are of 150 millimeters in terms of the external walls. That's about 6 inches. The internal walls, the partition walls, or the party walls, however you choose to call them, are also reinforced concrete, 4-inch reinforced concrete, which is about 120 millimeters. So in terms of the fitness of the purpose to be able to withstand very safely and adequately the adverse condition, whether it's from seismic activities or from hurricane force winds or from floods, is very significant. So we can show you, and you can see from the response that we have had here, it's a very well integrated development. You will see, of course, from where we are in the immediate vicinity, is what we have more of the linear type of apartment buildings. We also have the townhouse type of buildings that we saw from the other side, and we also have the family type. What we're hoping coming out from today would give us, of course, a very practical um, opportunity for seeing the actual physical progress that has made and to see whether we can realize our timeline. Based on the advice and confirmation given by the project manager, we are saying that the project should be ready. We should have around 201 units ready by the end of the year. That the units will be on A1, which is the first site we went to. We are now on C1. So both the buildings in A1 and C1 would be ready by the end of the year. So it means, therefore, we would have roughly around 59% of the residents ready around that time, which to us is very significant. Again, putting it into practical perspective, you could see most of the road structures that we have there are in place. The drainage component has to come, and of course, they still have to be working on the sewage treatment and disposal system. But roughly, the progress of work in terms of the infrastructure is around 80%, and that of the building is somewhere around 70% completed. So all things held equal, the developer and the contractors are very confident that come the end of May, they will be able to deliver the other 41% of the buildings and have all the buildings ready for occupation. So of course for us it's a very wonderful occasion, and I think on behalf of the Petite Savane community, of course you heard Nurse a while ago telling you how elated they were. I feel that the people of Petite Savane should really feel a very sense of comfort right now and relief, realizing the trauma and the adversity that they faced coming out the night of in August of 2017. So from the Ministry of standpoint, and of course as the government key implementation authority, we are really happy that we can see at least begin to see the light of the end of the tunnel to turn the life around for the people who have been impacted so severely by Hurricane, Tropical Storm Erika at first, and of course more recently by Hurricane Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.